All right. I don't know where the last one was sent, this was like 3 days ago.
Yeah, yeah. I had a copy.
Oh, I need to sign,
So,
I only signed mine.
That's okay.
Um,
I needed two definitely, one just to be official and the other one.
Okay.
maybe we should,
Just send it back when
I will
give
get
them.
an email.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Andy Shane, you're up first.
Okay.
How can we help you?
So, we're building a house over on 421 here, South High
Right.
Street. So we're wanting to, I spoke with the neighbors, the wires.
Uh-huh.
There's a 60-foot right of way right here that, I think it was for future development.
I think it was originally, I think, platted as a street.
Okay, so what we're, I guess, wanting to do or requesting to do is basically divide it and each take half ownership of it.
Okay.
There's no utilities other than what's on the property line. There's no main utilities running through.
There's no gas line through here?
Well, it's on the property line, so we still have
It's
our
on the
setback
property line.
easements because it's on the property line. So there's no, other than that, sewer is on the back.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah, it turns out that there are three, well, there's actually just two left, because one of them actually was already, evidently already vacated years ago, okay? I don't know if you wouldn't remember where Larry Bolton lived, but out back in this one, they did that, kind of did some digging. Randall still wants to, I don't know that he's gotten a hold of Mike Holman, he wanted to talk to Mike, because we have storm drains and other
Okay.
things that are not in our GPS system yet, or GPS system now. You know, they're working on it, we've had this utility software for a couple of years and we're getting there, but we don't know for sure what's in there. And, so I think we're just gonna have to probably take it under advisement and just.
So what technically has to happen is Andy would file a petition to vacate the right of way. And then there has to be a public hearing, and you have to give notice by certified mail to all the surrounding landowners.
Okay,
So like, for example, like if Jody McGuire is also interested in doing this,
Yes,
two of you would
she is.
petition together.
Yeah.
And then, obviously you would have to send Jody the notice of purchase of petitioner.
Yeah.
I don't know who's behind you guys, because it looks like
I
this the
am.
right.
You have that back there?
Yeah,
So
so I just,
So the right of way goes this way, right?
well, no, it's, what had happened here, this development kind of, they ran a sewer main here, so this lot was actually not gonna work out to be buildable. When I purchased this from Alpha, we actually deeded all this to the last home we built. What's remaining is the home we had under construction. This parcel, I put with this to make it actually a buildable lot to fill the subdivision
Okay.
over here out.
So you own both of these, this is just a lot, so the right of way just goes right here?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes. So it's
So-
blocked
So
out.
like if, and who owns this right here? Do you know?
So Barney Adams or THA owned this lot and they added that parcel to that lot.
Okay. So if you and Jody petition, we might have to do money notice, I'd probably do that just as a courtesy, but
Okay.
you should not, you might just want to do it.
Okay. That would be the only other step that would be given, just to.
Just to him,
Okay.
yeah, then we just have to publish it in the
Okay.
paper.
I guess I'm more curious if, I mean, is the town okay with it? I mean, is, the surrounding, I've talked to Barney, I've talked to, everybody around here, but nobody has a
Yeah.
problem. But
I
as far as
think-
utilities.
I think the only thing we have to, really, we don't think there's any sewer line, he knows where that one goes, and he knows where the water line is, he just doesn't know if there was a storm, because we find things, you can
Yeah.
imagine that. You know, we just kind of find things, he wants to make sure there's not a storm drain line in there.
Okay, and there's not,
So-
because there's a culvert that we have, because we have to get a state release to put driveways in out here.
Okay.
It's all open culvert, there's no storm drains and outlet right there, so
Okay.
I'm certain that there's nothing there,
Okay.
no infrastructure underground. So,
Okay. So then you need to take the ball. and
Yeah, so they would
right?
have to petition, that's the next step, and then, but I think he was waiting before he
Yeah.
started the petition, he just wants to know if Randall's
Yeah.
having any issues with it.
Yeah, I don't think so, I mean,
Okay.
you know, if we're sure there's nothing there, then we're okay, because we know that the other two weren't there, he was gonna check with Jeff Fisk and make sure there wasn't gas there, but
okay.
have you checked that?
Yeah,
They
so the
won't
gas is
locate?
not there,
Okay.
it's on the rear of the property,
Okay,
and it's on the north side, which, the lot line, I guess.
Okay.
So, yeah.
okay, well, that's fine then.
do I file that with?
We're at the clerk,
Okay.
Okay,
Fair enough.
that do?
Yeah.
All right,
I
thank you.
appreciate it.
Hang on just a minute. All right. Good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Patty Johnson from Services up next.
Hello, so I'm here to talk to you guys. I don't know who all wants something here. I put together a little handout of what I'm talking about, but I'm here to discuss an owner-occupied rehab program for the town of Versailles. This would be a combination of 2 grants. Do you want one? Not necessarily. So there's 2 different programs that we apply for when we pursue owner-occupied rehab funds. One is through USDA Rural Development, and then the other is through the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs. So USDA has a housing preservation grant program, and that application they have once a year. They don't tell us when they're gonna release it. Just one day it pops in my email and you got 30 days or 45 days to get this done. So that's part of the reason why I'm here tonight. I'm trying to prepare for what's coming down the pipe. Usually they release it April, May, June, July, somewhere in there, July, August. So these funds, if we would get awarded, we would use them to match to the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs grant funds. The maximum you can apply for to OCRA is $350,000. The amount that's available through the USDA grant, we don't know. They have an allocation that's given to the state of Indiana each year. Last year, I think it was a couple $100,000, and we got 108 of it, okay? And we split it between 2 communities. This year, I'm just gonna apply for one, and if you guys want me to, so the Regional Planning Commission actually acts as the applicant for the program, because we're allowed to. And then we name the town of Versailles as the beneficiary of the grant funds. So once we know it's been funded, then we can look at when you want to actually apply for the OCRA dollars. Now I know you guys have a water project that's going on, and you also have a comp plan that's going on. You can only have 3 open grants with OCRA. So if you do decide to apply for the OOR, that would take your first spot until one of them's closed out.
Okay.
The water project, I know Mary's working on, the proposal is been submitted, but the application's not due until June. That will have to be under construction contract before we can submit for an owner-occupied rehab grant. So in all reality, HPG, they'll announce, they'll release their grant application. We might find out by the beginning of October of this year.
Okay.
It was actually February of this year that we found out for last year. So there was a little bit of delay with the,
We
you know.
should be okay then, probably having a water contract.
Yes, yeah. So what I'm thinking in all reality is you might be looking maybe first round of next year, possibly second round. It just depends on how fast things go with the water project. If it gets funded the first time around, that's always, a huge feat if you can get it the first time and not have to do multiple rounds.
If our comp plan closes before the water starts, does it help us, or does the water contract still have to be under contract?
The water contract, or the water would still have to be under contract. Yeah, you can, if you apply for one and it's not under contract, you can't submit. Now, that's not to say that we can't be working on it. We know, like, say that the grant application is due June 2nd, and for OOR, and we know the water project is gonna be under contract before that date. As long as it is, we can be working on that application. It just has to be under contract when we submit that application, so a few moving
Just
parts
have to-
here,
yeah.
but one of the main things I wanted to talk to you guys about is the program. So we would be proposing to assist 15 to 18 families within the town limits of Versailles. They have to be low to moderate income. They have to own or have a mortgage on their property. they have to show that they're current with their mortgage. If they have a mortgage, they have to be current with their taxes. They have to show proof of homeowner's insurance. We cannot assist a single wide trailer. We can do a manufactured home as long as it is on a lot that they own and not rent. Trying to think what else. So repairs, it can't be located in floodplain, but we don't really have that problem here for sales too much, so.
One whole place
Yeah.
in my neighborhood.
Our backyard.
Yeah.
So repairs that we can do with the program, we can do new roof, we can do, water heater, HVAC, your furnace and air conditioner. We can do electrical repairs and lighting upgrades. Something new that is required is we have to do a radon mitigation test on each property, or a radon test, and then if it tests positive for radon, then we will have to put in a radon mitigation system, so. And then ADA accessibility to the threshold of the home. So if a person needs a ramp, or handrails, or grab bars to get in their front door or their back door, we can do that with this grant also, so.
And so you said 15 to 18?
15 to 18 is right now, since I don't really know,
You don't know
what we could get from USDA.
How would
that
that
number would
application
go up.
process then? Would it be like that we would try to identify, or
So,
they would
no.
apply?
So we will take care of all of that for you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Okay. Now for the USDA grant, I'm not gonna do any client intake or anything like that up front, because it's not necessary. If I do it now, people are gonna call you guys and be like, why isn't this happening, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So, and they don't require it. Now, for the Okra grant, we'll do public engagement meetings. We'll probably have at least 2. We'll have them at different times of the day, and we'll hopefully have good participation. We'll take applications at that time. We'll have you posted on Facebook. We'll put it in the paper, letting people know that we're trying to show the need for the program.
Okay.
And so if anybody actually, if this is put in the paper, anybody reads about this after tonight, they can go ahead and reach out to me, and we can start a waiting list of people to contact when we're ready to do applications. But we won't
You'll take care of that.
verify applications, like the income and all of that stuff, until both grants have been funded. We don't want to gather all that information and waste people's time, and Okra doesn't require that part of it, so that's good. But once it is funded, we would, you guys would have to procure for grant administration, which is us. We do charge 8% of whatever the grant amount is that you apply for to Okra, and then plus $5,000 for the environmental review, which is about, I have it in your little handout there, I think it's $38,000, or no, $33,000 is what it would be for the grant. And it's all paid from the grant funds. It's not paid from you guys.
That's good to know too.
Yeah.
All right, good.
And Okra has mentioned that they may be changing when they require us to procure. We may have to do it up front for the grant, but I'll let you guys know that for sure when we get closer to it.
Okay.
But I've kind of jumped all over the place on this. Do you guys have any questions at all?
Just for your knowledge, we kind of had a conversation a few weeks ago
Oh.
when we were there for the CERTSI meeting, and Pat brought that up and was asking, would we be interested? And of course, Holland and I, we jump on anything that's free. Sure.
Yeah, I
we're
mean, because
interested.
the
Of course
HPG
we are.
grant's not costing you guys anything,
Yeah.
so.
And
And
it would be
this
very
is the first
helpful
time I've done
for
one in
some of our
Marseilles.
properties.
I've done Wrigley
people,
County, but.
They don't have the
yeah.
money.
What were the
That's
ones that you
not.
just
It'd be
funded
great.
in the last round? Was it Madison?
Madison has an application pending right now. Brookville and Pope are where we're working at right now.
Good.
We're finishing one in Switzerland County and Lawrenceburg. Lawrenceburg's done, so, we've got a couple going on.
Yeah, from 15 to 18. That's
Could end up being more, so.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll
So,
be in
do I
touch.
have your guys' blessing then? Because I will have to put a notice in the paper when the HPG grant releases, and I gotta get it in there fast, because I have like 15 days comment before and after and all that stuff. When you have 45 days to work with and limited time with the paper, it makes it really hard to
Yeah,
get
it
in there.
is. It makes
so
it real hard.
It makes it.
I've
so
noticed
difficult.
discussion out on the listservs about that very same thing right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I will make a motion that we pursue Oh, yeah, sure, I'm sorry.
We don't have anything we're like looking to apply for that would.
Another
Could
over
fly.
project?
Yeah.
No, and we're gonna be closing out our comp plan here in the next few months, and then we'll be down to
So we'll still be back to two.
projects.
I think the next thing we probably are gonna wanna look at storm drainage. But we should be in the clear by the time we actually do any of that and get any engineering reports. So, I think we'll be okay. I'm sorry, I should have asked. That's a question. I just assumed. I assume everybody's on board with it. I will make a motion then that we let Patty go ahead and, get the ball rolling on that.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
And when they do release it, I'll send you guys
You'll be
an
in
email
touch.
and let you know, and just
Perfect.
let you know that that's going in the paper, so.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thanks for
You're
coming.
welcome.
Thanks for all the info and everything you do for us. We appreciate it. For sure. All right, Ben Severson, you're up. Thank you.
So far, 2026, we've had 191 calls, 61 in March, 22 so far in April. That lists some of the highlighted, a couple grass fires, 4 vehicle accidents. We had one gentleman with a severe gunshot wound. I'll just say our firefighters did an excellent job. Patient care saved his life. 2 calls of smoke in a residence, a vehicle fire. Guys were able to save a barn, try to fix a barn. Assist law enforcement removing a deceased body in an apartment in town. Had another fire at Tyson Manor, and then we had the residential fire over at Tanglewood Road. That was kind of an unusual fire. We were fortunate. It was a young girl, 14 years old. She woke up and she thought she heard something. Then she decided to go to the kitchen and get something to eat. And she went to the kitchen. She saw the back porch on fire. So she was able to get her family out.
That whole place was.
Smoke detectors didn't go off yet because there was no smoke in the house yet. The fire was outside. The back porch roof collapsed, and when it collapsed, it broke the gas main. So when we run it, we had natural gas burning up beside the house into the roof. That's why it spread so fast. But
Oh, wow.
they did a good job putting it out, and nobody got hurt, and we were able to keep it off the neighbor's house. Fire academy course we'll be running. We're done next week. We have 1 firefighter completing that, William Moore. We are going to do, I mentioned it last month, countywide drill on May 16th, staying away from the birthday party. 9 to 12, we have every fire department, the county's gonna be here in some way or form or another. We did add another firefighter on the roster, Jake Habart. He was on the department a few years ago, but working stuff, he moved away, he's back, so he joined again. And we're still working on the potential impact for Senate Bill 27 on the fire departments and townships. So that's about it.
Busy month.
Why the month?
Yeah.
Those are some things.
Thank you.
Well, we
For
got
all
1
you
month
guys
till I
do.
retire from school.
Excuse me?
We got 1 month till I retire from school.
Is that right? Oh, from school, not from the department, just from school. Okay, all right, well, we do appreciate everything you guys do and all the volunteer hours you put in, so, thank you, thank you.
We got a good group.
Great. All right, let's see, what we've got. Randy Young, we're gonna do you, then Michael, we're gonna do you.
Several years ago, the Lincoln County Basketball Thing started a historical marker project. And the county got put on hold because of COVID, so a couple years ago, we got back into it. We have our first marker made, and we soon get it in place. But we're looking at getting ready to find a second location for a historical marker, and that would be the county themselves. So I need to know, what do you need to do? Who do we need permission from to post this marker?
Well, first of all, can you tell us what the marker is about?
Okay, so it is going to be located on Lot 98, which in the 1800s, the Presbyterian Church stood there. And it stood there until 1921, when it was sold to the Knights of Pythias. In 1922, the superintendent of all schools and the coach decided to hold a Lincoln County tournament, and they chose the KFP Hall as the location for the first Lincoln County tournament. So that's why we wanted to put a marker there, because it is the first location for the first of the campaign.
And tell me there's 98.
98, I think, is the source.
The
Was
source? Oh, was the source, where the senior center was? That, no.
It belongs to, I think, Jason Colbert.
Yeah, okay, yes, right next door to Junior. Okay, I know where you're talking.
That's the location, that was the Presbyterian Church, and then the KP Hall.
So I take it you would put it like within the property boundaries, or
Well,
where?
I didn't know if we could put it between the road and the sidewalk, or,
Would that be a wooden sign?
no, it is a metal sign.
It's a metal sign.
It is just like the ones you have on the courthouse square.
On that side?
It is a big sign.
Oh, it's a big sign.
Yes.
How much?
Probably wouldn't work in between the
Yeah.
sidewalk and the road. Probably wouldn't work there.
How big is?
I mean, it's equivalent to those, I don't know if it's seen on here tonight.
There's the ones that are like.
One by the
The
pond.
one is ready signs.
Oh, those signs, okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I guess so, because, I don't know. I worry about that being that close. With snow plows and that kind of stuff. I don't know, what do you think? I mean, if they turned it so it's, you're reading it from the street, I guess that wouldn't matter, but I almost wonder if it would be. Yeah, I think so too. And I'm not sure where the best place to put it would be. Whether it needs to be on the property.
Have you like looked at the property and that's where you would like put it already?
Yeah, I know that, if you put it between the road, curb, and the sidewalk, there will be plenty in there, and have it parallel with the street.
With the street, so if you're standing in the street, you're looking at
You
it.
could either see it in the street
Yeah.
or see it in the sidewalk, because it will be printed on both sides.
I think we're probably going to take a look at that before we make a decision, to make sure that, snow plows and that kind of thing are gonna have any kind of an impact. I mean, they've been known to plow, snow, not that they plow the mailboxes down, but the snow plows the mailboxes down. We certainly would want something like that to happen with that
So if we go
sign.
beyond the sidewalk, beyond the property?
Yeah.
We'd have to have permission.
You got to have permission from the property owner. But, let me just put that on my list, let me check with Randall Miller. Looks like he spells it right. He's our superintendent of streets and utilities, so we'll check with him and make sure. Could you maybe put some kind of mark out there, or maybe just spray paint a little spot where you think you want that? And
And
I'll
we have
see-
to look at, we have to look at things like utilities and stuff like that in the area too, so
Yeah,
that's
they-
going to determine what's going to be.
Yeah, I don't, that shouldn't be an issue there, should it? Utilities? Maybe?
If it's on the road, there could be fiber optics or.
Oh, yeah,
there could be electric or gas or.
Yeah, because they got fiber optics all over this place, I don't know where
So
it is.
as far as the exact location, at this time, I'm not really concerned about that.
Mhm.
I just want to make sure, what we need to get permission to place it on.
Well,
Because we don't, we can't start manufacturing over here until we know we're going to have permission.
you gotta give me a few days to talk to Randall and have him go over there and look and see what he can figure out. And, at that point, I mean, if Randall okays it, I'm okay with it. So I'll make a motion that, pending Randall's okay of that, then
You may wanna just check, does the town maintain that, or is it our?
We do.
Okay, so if you're maintaining.
well, no, we don't. The property owners typically mow it.
That's what I.
Yeah,
just
so
as a
we probably
courtesy,
should know if the
like,
property owner's okay with that too.
Let them know just because they have now
Okay.
something else.
Do you know is Jason still on that, Jason Coler?
According to, I went to the courthouse to see who owned the property, and that's whose name's on it.
Okay. Okay, well, I will have, I know Jason, I'll talk to Jason. We need to check with Randall, and we need to talk with Jason Colbert to make sure that if it ends up on his property, that he's okay with that, and if it ends up between the sidewalk and the street, and he's gonna have to mow around it, that he's okay with that. So we need to make sure that that is okay. And I understand you're in a hurry, but sometimes,
Well,
we gotta
I'm
have more
not in a
time.
hurry, it actually takes 6 months to manufacture,
Oh, wow, okay.
so.
So, okay, a couple weeks,
So we're not,
not too bad.
if we need to get going, we're probably not gonna be looking at the building until next spring.
Okay, all right, well, we'll check in with Randall, and I'll have him check with Jason, or somebody will check with Jason, kind of figure out where the best place to put it, and then make sure Jason's okay with it being there, and that he will maintain and cut the grass around it and not, put a fuss. And I just wanna make sure that, we get a snow like we had this winter, that, 14 inches or whatever, that can easily knock things over, and I don't want it to be in a position where it would get damaged or something too. So we'll try to make sure we know, that wherever it's gonna be placed, that it's gonna be safe there, so. Okay?
Do you have a picture of what it would look like? It seems like maybe it'd be helpful, or do you already have it?
Well, if it's the size of these over here,
Size,
then we
okay.
kinda know, if that's what you're looking at, like what's over there on the courthouse, whatever.
We should be getting our first marker up here, I hope within the next month.
Okay,
So,
where's that going?
there's,
Pierceville. Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry?
Mile 54.
Yes, there's Wildcats.
Yep. This lady right here helped with that, big basketball water tower. Which I think is pretty cool, so. Okay, Randy, well, we will do some checking on that, and then how about your phone number? 3749. Okay, got it. All right, we'll let you know. Thank you. All right, and now I'd like to introduce to those of you that didn't get to meet him already, this is Michael Grimm from Representative Aaron Houchin's office. And he's been down to, with Lori and Polly and myself, and who did I get?
Eric and Jerry.
Eric and Jill and Randall and Chris Getz. And we all met and did a little tour around town, took him on a tour around town of the water project and the different pieces and parts of it. And so, but I don't think we have time for you to tell your story. But you can save that for another day. Oh, they're gonna be really interested in that story, I guarantee.
Not America either. Yeah, so like she said, thank you for the introduction. My name is Michael Grimm. I work for Congressman Houchin. I handle, among other things, I do outreach. So I am the kind of man on the ground for all things around the 9th District. So if there's ever anything you need directly from our office, I try to be available and a good point of contact at the federal level. So I'll make sure you all have my card before I leave. I'll give you, I guess, just a brief update. I'm sure they have kind of filled you in on the CPF projects, the community project funding application that they made. So I'll give you the kind of status update, where we're at, and then I'm happy to answer any technical questions to the best of my ability while I'm here. So the Congresswoman has selected the Versailles Water Project to go forward. I was reviewing my numbers while I was sitting over there. I want to say we submitted for $6.6 million and some change. Which should break down to 80% of the allowable cost per interior committee guidelines. Whether we will get that $6.6 million is to be determined, but that is our ask to the committee, if that makes sense. So the project is essentially, as far as the legislation in DC is concerned, has crossed the starting line. So now we go through, now that the Congresswoman has accepted the application, the committee staff have reviewed the project, determined that it is eligible for federal funds. They have now begun the bill becomes a law portion of what we have to do to get the project funded. So we should have an idea of how much the federal government is willing to spend on the project once we get subcommittee markup numbers back. That should come in May or June. That calendar is still TBD, but we'll keep you all informed as we have those numbers. So I believe Roxanne is we had to designate one person to be point of contact for all things when the federal government has questions. I believe Roxanne is our designated point of contact for that. So you should be receiving an email no later than Friday that is just an official from the Congresswoman.
Okay.
We have accepted your project. Everything is moving forward. This is kind of what you can expect in the next couple of months.
Okay.
From here, we will continue to advocate for the project in DC. We want to get our projects funded as much as you guys would like to receive funds, right? So now we do the Schoolhouse Rock. I'm just a bill sitting on Capitol Hill. So I'm going to go through some markup, and then it'll work its way up the appropriations committee to a full House vote. Then it'll have to go over to the Senate side and do the exact same thing. Typically, we should know, like I said, your kind of big deliverables, when you can kind of expect us to give you some meaningful updates on this. Following subcommittee markup, whenever that may be, typically May, June. It's gone as late as July or August, depending on what's going on in DC. This year we expect May or June. And I'll keep you informed of that as we work through the process. That is when we will know what the federal government has put on the table or what they are offering for the project. So that is when we will know definitively how much is on offer. The average, it's something we talked about, the average CPF is funded at about $1.5 to $2 million on average. So we can expect, if they give us a low number, it'll probably come in around that. The subcommittee is not one to, it's not so much a negotiation. I always tell people that it's not a negotiation, it's like a deal or no deal. The government is like, the committee's like, this is what we can do. Or we can do a magic trick and it turns into doves and flies away, right? So it's like you kind of take it or leave it. Yeah, so we want to advocate for you all to get as much as possible, which is why we ask for, as I discussed with Polly and Roxanne, let's ask for what we can ask for and see what they're willing to give us. Otherwise, you may end up leaving money on the table. So that's the first kind of meaningful. When we have an update, we'll fill you in on how much is on the table for that. And then towards the end of the year, usually fall as we get into the holidays, we'll know more as we kind of close out the fiscal year, what the state of play is going to look like for, are we going to a continuing resolution for funding the federal government, or are we going to pass a new budget? So the legislative piece of that, while it's important, if we go to a continuing resolution, then that's essentially Congress saying we're funding the federal government at the same amounts that we funded it the last time because we can't agree to anything new. So no new projects get funded when that happens. If that's the case, and if you all are interested, then we simply reapply your project next year. Yeah, we give you a priority, like we still want to get your project funded, so we'll just do it all again. Otherwise, as has happened the last 3 years, we will pass either a minibus or an omnibus. So when you see the news getting all kind of like worked into a frenzy about that, that's us passing a new budget from the government, and that is where your project will get funded at whatever amount we previously set. So that is when we will know if we're a go or a no-go on if the money will actually show up at the beginning of the year. And then from there, if everything goes according to plan, the agencies will be in contact with you to help you begin the drawdown process. Those funds usually spring of next year. So it's kind of a brief timeline of it. If you all have any questions or concerns, let me know and I'll answer them to the best ability. It's kind of the update. That's what we're at.
I'm excited.
We want to help. So
Yeah, we don't
the congresswoman generally believes, right, that our local municipalities are generally responsible taxpayers, responsible spenders of taxpayer dollars. So we want to enable you to be able to work on projects that are related to that. So that's how we do that. So I'm also the district point of contact for all things appropriations and CPF. So all of the kind of points of contact or the information that flows through our office that has to do with appropriations and CPF, I'm usually the person from in Indiana who gets to work on that stuff. So I tend to be some people would say boat anchor, others times the knowledge sink, that sort of stuff. So any questions you have, I'm happy to either answer them or get answered. So.
Any questions? Anybody? Holly? All right.
Thank you.
You know, hang in there.
We'll see what we get.
I know, appreciate it.
It's a very weird process because it's like what's happening?
So many
in DC
moving
today?
parts.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. Who woke up on the wrong side of the bed? Is that going to affect it? Our bill gets passed. But we've had generally year-over-year success with them, right? So I mean, just to reiterate, like we're going to continue to fight and try to get these projects funded. So like I said, it'll go public. I know we're on the live stream. It'll go public. You'll receive that email no later than Friday. Kind of the official, like here's on cardstock, your official confirmation. And then the name of the project will be displayed on our website no later than Friday. So part of the rules of the process is the congresswoman has to publicly unveil the project, and so we do that by posting them on our website. Yeah. Cool.
Very good.
Sure.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you, we appreciate all you've done.
Of course.
And
Let me
we'll
leave,
give you more. Oh, yeah, you've got some cards.
Yes.
I've got yours.
My cell phone and my email are on there. Like I said, my job is to be easy to get a hold of. So call, text, shoot me an email anytime if you have questions. And then same thing, we will be in touch as, like I said, as there is something to know about the project and the process. Cool.
Very good, thank you. Thank you, appreciate it. You don't have to hang out, you can head on your way, since I know you gotta drive tonight and another drive tomorrow.
Hey, that's the best part of my job. I don't have to be in an office every day. All right, see y'all. Thank you for the meeting, by the way.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye. All right, so we just kind of, what are you thinking? Yeah? Sorry. No, I thought maybe you were talking about that. Okay. No. All right. All right, next on the list, I think we've gotten reports, right? Streets and utilities and Spillman reports, and I got Holly's. Holly, it seems like there are a couple things there I wanted you to explain though.
Yeah, you mentioned like trail expansion, I brought
Oh, yeah.
these for you guys. So I think this is my second meeting ever since I started here, and it felt made me cry, but we did not get the ITP grant. They only funded 5 in the whole state out of 32 applications, and it sounded like they focused on areas with higher populations that more people will be accessing the trails. So, you know, we applied for like $234,000, and then I had the $65,000 of local match for trails V1, V2, and V4. And V4 is the one with the floating bridge over the Versailles Lake. Our trail group met after we got the ding, and it's being recommended by the state park that we try to pursue trails V1 and V2 at this time because we do not have a site change approval on our request. That's been out there for about a year, and don't know if and when, you know, that will come. There is a precedent set for a trail through a park. Actually, at Clifty Falls, the Heritage Trail is going through Clifty to Franklin College, or Hanover College, not Franklin. So that's like the precedent, like project that would say like they probably should or will like accept that site change request because we're not creating an entrance into the park, we're just going through. But they're in the middle of this dam study, and so we don't know. There's no, like, that's what's holding it up, but we just don't know. And so the park was just saying, you know, at this time, they would recommend that $65,000 that we're sitting on in local match, potentially just going ahead and redirecting that specifically to V1 and V2, which is on town property. And it would be extending the connector trail in 2 different directions to create a loop. I have talked to the Tanglewood Legacy Fund that gave us a grant last year, and they have approved that we shift toward V1, V2 and use that money to rent the trail building equipment, and we have at least 3, they're not professional trail builders, but they built a lot of the bike trails in the state park to get started, that have agreed to volunteer their time if we, you know, provide equipment, which Main Street has the money to do, and Tanglewood Legacy has approved that we do that. And then it's possible that like Rising Sun and maybe the Community Foundation will let us just hold on to that money from them to be able to put towards V4 at a future date if and when we get the site change request from the state park. So you guys already gave me permission to pursue the V1, V2, and V4 project when I applied for ITP, but I just wanted to come back and make sure you guys were good with this. Focus on V1, V2, and then permission to go ahead and pursue the building of those V1 and V2 likely this spring, summer.
Yeah, I think we've got to talk about liability if we Not while they're running the machine.
Exactly. I said, well, that can be arranged
That will
after
be
hours,
evening,
but,
okay.
that was their only request.
Yeah, okay. All right, what do you guys think? You wanna make a motion? Okay, so,
Second.
okay, all in favor? Aye. All right.
Thank
And then,
you.
oh, it seems
And then
like,
the last thing, I need you guys to
Oh,
sign
yeah,
the
the brilliant.
contract. So Lynn came back with 3 changes, they accepted them, and,
Great.
that is the updated contract, which she has reviewed to ensure that her, updates were made.
and then we have a call with them when?
Tomorrow, okay, what kind of changes?
Oh,
It was like
it's
30, they wanted to do it within 30 days, she's asked for 45.
just because they have interest that the cruise after 30, just depending upon when it gets to Sarah and all of that, I was a little bit concerned about the 30 days.
Okay.
And then there were other just 2 changes with, I think it was liability.
Yeah, and it was like using the plans after the fact,
Right.
When engineering something, basically like release the plans from them to others.
So do I need to sign this here?
So you probably, you need to approve the contract.
Yeah.
And then sign it.
All right, well, if you've already reviewed it, then I'm gonna make a motion that we sign the contract with Bridgewater. We've got safe streets and roads for all. All right, all in favor? And again, I think that takes care of all of our busyness, except for we need to make a motion to accept the reports. I'm just thinking,
I just got one more thing I'll point out.
Okay.
We did get our IMBA, International Mountain Biking Association Trail Town designation.
yeah, that's kind of exciting.
One of 28 in the nation, so pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Good job. Today is the 14th. Can you believe it's mid-April?
Oh, and the final construction plans did come through from Chad this afternoon, and so Jen was requesting CAD files, but, that was, I put on my report, we were awaiting that, but they came today.
Who needs this?
I do.
So Perry's food, I'm gonna get that on the move, that's good. All right, so we had reports and we, Sarah sent the meeting minutes from last month out. Any other corrections, additions, corrections for that? If not, then I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the minutes as written. All right, all in favor? And then let's sign that and pass it on, and then, guess what, oh, Noble LLC did not show up again. All right?
So I did send an email today, an unsigned copy of the order on review hearing.
Okay.
So I'll just send that out again, and I assume we'll have to do it next time.
It seems like he comes about every other
He does. But he did get some doors put in today. I'll have to look when I go home, see if we've got the ones on the ends of the building. They did put in a couple doors, but come on. Maybe more than that in a month, I'll get it. All right, and now we're back, now Lori, what do you have for us? Anything with the sewer or the water? I will say the sewer bond ordinance, Sarah had that published in the paper, that was one of the requirements that we had to take care of, and she got that done last week, so what else?
Really, the only thing I do have, engineering agreement, and I know things are moving forward, so I'm sure this needs to be reviewed, and I can send an electronic copy, but I thought I'd just go ahead and give that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Or whenever, and if you have any questions, let me know.
I probably already approved this agreement.
You probably for it, right?
It's
It's the basic, it's that EJCBC forms, yeah, it's the
Okay.
standard.
We'll look at the few little numbers thrown in the middle there, and then we'll prove that.
Yeah.
All right, and anything else?
Otherwise, not really. I think, I thought the meeting was really good today, and I think, the project's lined up. Everything was submitted to SRF, by April 1st, so everything's moving forward, and funding as far as it can. So I think we'll just continue on with that. If anybody has any questions, just let me know. But,
Appreciate you coming down today, you and Jill and Eric, all three of you, because that was, I think think Michael got a good feel for, and a good understanding of what we're trying to do. He has some good questions, I thought, you know?
Yeah, I think very engaged.
Yeah, so hopefully he'll go to bat for us for more than the average of 1.5 million. I kind of went, oh.
But if that's the average, there have to be ones that are.
Yeah, right.
We
Yeah,
want to be
Charles
above
got
average.
5 million, didn't they, last year, I think?
I think so.
So,
Yeah.
we're hoping we get more than that, but, you know, whatever we get is gonna be helpful, and, hopefully the residents are gonna be appreciative of all the hard work that's gone into this, because it's not been, you know, it's been a lot of thought.
It takes a lot to.
It does. I mean, think how long you guys have worked on the engineering plans and the many meetings that were held to get opinions from other people, you know, Randall, come on in here and tell us what you think, we're thinking we want to do this, right? Be like, well, but maybe, you know, and so I think we've got a good plan, and, you know, looking forward to carrying it out, so thank you again for this honor tonight, that was nice, I appreciate that, I'll take care of that. And if you need to scoot on your way, you feel free to go, because I mean, you've got a long drive.
Okay. Well, if there's any other questions for me, I'll be more than happy to stick around, but,
Yeah.
okay, well, thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate all you guys do for us. Don't know what we do without you, honestly, they don't. The other part of that then is, the Okra application, which Michael mentioned that, but that is due in June. And so we've still got a little, what do we need to sign next month? I don't remember what. We got a couple more things we gotta sign.
And there'll be a
because-
site visit on that one.
Oh, yes, it's like, you know,
Change
I know
on
that.
from
Yeah.
October.
Yeah. So that's, you know, where we stand. I think we're in good shape, so. All right, moving on then. Residential registration requirements, the ordinance, and Lori, not Lori, Lynn.
Too many domains.
Yeah, I know, and just too many things going on. Bye, safe trip home. I got them here somewhere. I did print those out again. We decided at the last meeting we were just going to, like, have them register. Or pursue the inspection and all of that. So we do have on this registration form, there's $100 penalty if you don't register by the time you have to register. Okay, so we need to decide for sure what we're gonna do on that. I did notice one thing in the contract, Lynn, about the number of units, so I added that to this form here. And then this is just like an info sheet. This is how it's gonna work. And I don't have anything on that with the, with anything about the inspection stuff, because honestly, I don't think it's gonna be written into the ordinance, so we don't have to go back and do all that over. But I don't know that it's really worth our while to publicize all of that right now, because I think we'll get a zillion questions, and the answer will always be, we're not doing that right now. Well, then it's why not, and all of that, so I didn't do that. And then this third little page was just one that I made for us, and somebody comes in and wants to just change something. So I'll send these around, and I've sent them to you before. The only thing I added was this little piece on that one, the number of units. And then, I think we need to review that ordinance and make sure. I read it, I thought it sounded good, I didn't see anything in there that, the only thing I questioned was the planner, the planner, who that would be. I mean, I suppose it could be any employee of the town,
You
correct?
would
So-
just designate his name that title.
Yeah, give them the title, that's what I thought. And that's why I wrote Sarah on the side, or I wrote Sarah Randall. So when we get to that point, we will, you know, go decide who that's gonna be. But I don't think that's something that's gonna happen right away, okay? Anything else on that? Do we
No.
need to, like, do a first reading of that? Is that
So
normal?
you do, and you can wait till next month, because the way I had it drafted, this really is like, it would go into effect this year, but everybody would need to be registered by January 1st, 2027. So there's time to get this in place,
Okay.
time to get your forms in place, time to get,
Yeah.
how you're gonna notify all the landlords that they need to register.
Yeah,
So there's time to do all of that. So
Okay.
you do need to do the first and second reading on the ordinance.
tonight.
You don't have to.
No,
do it
not tonight, okay.
So read it, and make sure you're
Yeah.
comfortable with it.
Go
there's no
back and
questions
read
with it.
carefully and make sure there's nothing there. And I'll go back and check there, I think there's a date or two in here I'll need to change, because we originally were shooting for like a July 1, I think, that I would think was a nice, and we have to jump on that.
Okay, I think you had July, but I don't know that I changed it because I thought it was too soon, so.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll go back.
We'll go back and check that, and we can make sure on that. That's not a big deal. I think these are kind of ready to go. All right, now,
So
registration.
you're tabling that.
Yeah, we'll table that. We will table that. Table this till next month. All right, zoning code update. Joe was supposed to go today,
So,
right?
right, yeah, so I talked to him yesterday morning,
Mhm.
and he was planning on going, so, and, or was that today?
It was, the
Yeah.
meeting was today at
Yeah,
1, I think.
and then I just asked him to
It's always
update me and all
week
that,
after.
with what
Yeah.
everything says, so he was, basically, it was still a tech review meeting, right?
Mhm.
And they were gonna just try to work through some of the disagreements or differences that or concerns
That they brought up.
that the board had.
Yeah, and we had thrown a few ideas at it, you know, but that was up to Joe to deliver that message, so we'll see what he's got to say and how they react to that. But hopefully, you know, we get some good feedback on that, and they're willing to, I mean, they asked us to do it, so we've done it. So I hope they don't fight too hard against what we would like to be able to do, so. Okay, Duke Energy's next, the receptacle thing, and I haven't heard from the guy again. I wondered if I ever will, because I think I called his bluff. When he went and found out that we were already paid for something, he kind of backed off, so whatever. Police car equipment upgrades, my notes from last month said that Joe didn't think we needed to move forward on that. He thought we needed a new tornado siren, but Ben, you say the tornado siren's working.
What? Yeah, the tornado siren's working.
It's
We
working.
got a little maintenance for the, some wiring on the one.
Well, I'm
The
gonna.
sirens are fun.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about this though, because I think it's just something maybe we can go and look for a grant for. We were over at Batesville the other night, and, the other day, it was a Saturday, and they always blow their siren up at noon on Saturday, and it's a rotating one, and let me tell you what, you can hear that siren for a mile.
That's what we got behind the police station. It's a rotating.
Is it? Well, I can't hear that.
Well, you're too far out.
Yeah.
You guys are back 40. But
Yeah. But I thought if it was rotating, maybe we'd hear that.
the closest one you've got is Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
If you really want coverage down there, you have to put a sign down there.
Yeah,
It's too far.
yeah.
Batesville's got more than one rotator.
Yeah,
That's why you're.
that is
They
it's
got
a
pretty
big
good
one.
coverage.
And it's right there at the school, but man, it'll blow your ears out, blow your eardrums out, so. Okay, so I think we can remove that from the list probably there. Don't really have anything more on Canaan Water. I did talk to Lori about it, and we believe they're on the right track. They're not running into any issues with the water contracts that they have. And so I have not talked to Kurt again, but I know they're working with, Hoosier Hills to figure out how much they have to decide how much they want to buy and how much Hoosier Hills is willing to allow them to buy. But last number we heard was 30 to 50,000 gallons a month, or day, I'm sorry, 30 to 50 a day. And that would be very helpful for us. And Lori didn't think that was a problem, like the tank is, 500,000 gallons, so she didn't think that's any kind of a problem getting the water here and getting it to them. So that's where we are with that one. I'm gonna skip S&A because that's gonna take us a few more minutes to talk, but the Main Street stone wall repair, we did get, Holly, I think, contacted Sean, Halcom, and he's given us a quote for $4,750 to take the wall, not the entire wall, but a lot of the wall's gotta come down, and then he's gonna put it back together, and $4,750 to fix that wall. But that wall was probably built around 1820 when the building was built,
It's
so.
a contributing,
Structure,
on
yes.
International
Mhm.
Historic District.
Yeah, so we need to repair it. And obviously it's on our property, so we need to repair it. So do I have a motion to accept that? All right. Second? I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Okay. And last but not least,
Before you move
oh,
on,
yeah.
because it's of similar, at least location, the step in front of Novel Parts. I
Well-
don't know where we,
well, that's a good one, I'm glad you asked. We had Lori and, who was with her, was it Jim? Eric. Lori and Eric were in town about a week or so ago. And we walked over there, and we took a long, hard look, and actually, it was what we suspected, why it turned out the way it did, but that's a much higher curve there. Because if you look, she sent some pictures to us. Can you pull those up, maybe? And, so the way that whole side of Tyson Street looked was there were steps into all the businesses, okay? And so they were trying to eliminate that and create a better flow. You do have a ramp that goes up into the Memories of Yesteryear, but the rest of, and I think there's a ramp to Novel Hearts too, but it's not much of a ramp, it's just a little bit of a slope. But they got everything there, so you're not tripping up steps all the time. But what that did then, pardon me, but it made the curve high. So one thing we've talked about with that is maybe doing some, just some little handles, and we probably would have these made rather than.
I didn't like the guardrail that she sent.
I didn't like that either, because cars are gonna park there and they're gonna knock that
So
over.
that's what, like, and that's not actually real because that's torn down now, but, so like, now this is even with this, so like everything got brought up. Cause like this is where the door is now, so that step is no longer there, so they
Okay.
raised, let me see if I can find the, and here's like, what is now Declan's,
These are
and that's
These are a couple
zero
of
entry
handles if you
now,
want,
and so
which is
everything got
sporadically on that
and so
sidewalk.
like raise the sidewalk.
Keep it out of the
6
way of a
inches,
car,
and
But
so then
something like that, it actually.
made a curve, but she said, like,
that place in the-
it's not violating any regulations.
Okay.
Like, it's high, but it's not.
It's
like,
not again,
it's
because
not-
we
it's-
have
It's
access.
not.
At the corners and in the middle, we have handicap
So
access, so
it's
it's
not a
not really,
liability for us. It's not out of compliance.
it's not out of
with,
compliance.
So we're just looking at putting some real.
We're thinking just little handrails along the way, there's 2 or 3 of them here.
Where the entrance is.
And actually, we think we might talk to the guy from Madison that did all of our benches and stuff and have something that kind of matches the benches and the picnic tables.
sure.
But not at every parking place, but maybe every, like near the trees.
Or near the entrances, maybe?
Well, as best we can,
Yeah.
but especially, near trees, so that you've got a little room to work with there, because it's gonna be a little difficult.
And she
to-
sent something from like Plainfield, and I can't open that file type on my phone, it's a KMZ file or something, but
It's
they
a
call it
real
like,
railing.
they call it like a guardrail, and it is like a
It's
buffer.
a
that you
decorative
can-
railing.
And it has like little gates in it, but I just feel like it makes it not inviting to like come off the street onto the sidewalk, because it's like truly like a whole fence, the whole length.
But they
of
don't
the
have
street.
parking there either, along
It's-
that.
Yeah, it might be like
It's-
parallel
it-
parking or just.
It
street.
didn't even look like, I didn't see any parallel lines
Yeah.
either, so
Yeah.
I don't know that it even have
I
parking.
didn't like that from a standpoint of like, it just makes it.
Yeah, then you gotta find a gate, you gotta maneuver yourself between cars to a gate,
But-
which you'd have to kind of, if it's one of those people like me that has a hard time stepping up in and out of that,
We thought if we pick some places along there where it is the highest and like have some sort of handrail, something that, that aligns with like the parking line, so somebody's not gonna like run into it. And
Right.
there's something to hold on to. I mean, it could just be like a loop,
Yeah.
and it could be using the bike rack thing kind of too.
Right.
But like somebody can get a hold of it to step up or hold on to it to step down to help their balance.
So we're still kind of investigating that,
Okay.
and we've actually, I mentioned to Holly, I wondered if maybe the guy Dimensional that's made all the picnic tables and the benches, maybe he could design something that was, be a real nice match for those, because the ones I've shown you here, they're not commercial. So we gotta find something that's commercial that'll really hold up. And I think the placement's gonna be strategic so that cars aren't running into each other. So, but yeah, there's a pretty high step, but I think it's worth it. When I look back and I look at what was there, because literally, like, I know walking
It
right.
made all the businesses handicap
you know, it's, if you're walking side by side with somebody, it would be very easy to do that. So we've eliminated all of that on our bicycles. I think it was worth it. But I think we can do something like that, those walking rails and
Are we
kind
looking
of
at
help that
putting it
situation.
all the way around the square or just on the
No,
south
it's
side?
really only on that side that it's so high. And it's not even the whole side, like it slopes back down in the middle of the block because of that handicap access there, but it's pretty high on this corner over here. Because we stepped up this afternoon, I was like, okay, get ready, step, because
It's high in front of Declan, it's high in front of Members Yesteryear and all parks, and then it slopes to the corners, and there's a low spot there, kind of in front of the transformer, because that's where the handicap, ramp is, but like, in between them, it's high.
So we'll work on that. Okay, BS&A software. I mean, I know it's good stuff. I've seen it. I'm totally convinced.
So
But
when
it's a
Zane was
lot.
here, all we had to pay this year was $1,000.
Right.
And then we budgeted it into next year. So,
So we only have to pay $1,000.
We just have to put
just to
some,
get us under contract.
we have to get under contract to be able to get that what do they call it?
Data
Transact-
transfer,
huh?
the data transfer.
Data transfer, they call it something else, but anyway, the data,
Migration.
migration, thank you, that's the right word. Migration, and so we want to take advantage of that migration because otherwise it's going to cost us $45,000 and not what we're
Right.
paying. So if we go ahead and commit before June 1, we save the $45,000. But we also have to, we'll get into it at some point next year, which could be as late as June next year even. But obviously we would want
Before
to.
you start using it.
Yeah, because they've got a lengthy list already of people that are,
Oh,
that
right.
they've got to
Yeah,
get going.
those.
So we'll join that lengthy list. And it could be March or April, but I'm kind of
So we're already
thinking,
scheduled in March, April, and these are not those.
yeah, so they're probably June.
Probably do.
Talk to me a little bit about what you think, like, time-saving wise, because you talked about the one part that I was really impressed with, that right now has to be done manually, and that's like deposits and things. And then Bailey has to get that deposit all together, literally, in her hand, and then it has to go to the bank, but then she has to take all of that and manually enter it into another part of Keystone software. They're not linked together. And so she's entering it here once, then she's got to go over here, and she's got to enter it over here, and that's where mistakes happen. And so one of the real big benefits in that, just that one thing, I think is a huge benefit, it's an automatic transfer. So there won't be mistakes, and that won't take time to dig and try to figure out, you transpose the 9 and the 8, and how many transactions do you have to look at, right? So I'm curious, what other kind of things like that did you find?
So all of the invoices that I enter, I just scan in and it'll pull the information off of it. Obviously, I have to double check it, so it's a lot less keying there for me.
Okay.
Moving payroll over to TIP fund is gonna be quick and easy there too. The system for residents, we go to log in and see your account and it was automatic payments and everything. And they would make me go over for ACH, so I have more credit card use.
Okay, yeah, because if they choose to pay by credit card, they would have to pay by credit card, but if they do an automatic transfer, right, through a bank,
Mhm.
right, which is what, we do that for some of our stuff, I don't think we do it for this. But, you pay it for financial, and, it comes here, those won't be they won't cost anything. It'll be easier, those will be easier transactions too, right? What other things can you think of though besides, are there other big, because I'm looking at the time saving part, that's what I'm looking at right now. And I'm gonna be honest, okay? I'm questioning, do we need a third person in the office? I mean, I would like to have a third person as a backup in case somebody gets sick and they lose sight of them. Or whatever, I like the idea of that, but I'm just I'm questioning, do we really need that person? Because if we didn't, that will pay a decent chunk of that cost, right? So,
Chelsea works about 28 hours every year,
okay.
so rather than that, it's about.
I don't know what the math is. Can you tell, kind of give me an idea, I can do some math? Okay, what's it? You can like figure, you're figuring that out, aren't you? Two pay period and then times,
That's about her entire salary for the year.
just around that. And that's basically, that's what we're paying for Keystone right now, right? Now what you told me?
About 17.
Oh, I thought it was okay. All right, so, and the new one's 41. Choke. And you still choke?
I don't think any of us are against it, it's just where's the funds gonna come from, you know?
So, the one thing you could do is, if everybody's in favor of it, just so you can get on the list, approve it, and then figure out and pay for it.
You know, and we probably need to go ahead and get on the list, probably like tomorrow. You what?
And that feels a little backward.
Yeah, but I mean, because, yeah, you have to figure out how you're gonna pay for it.
Because I don't-
But-
I
I
don't
agree,
have-
let's get on board with it and we'll figure it out here in the next few months on how we're gonna pay for it.
You're not in agreement with that. I get it, I get it,
Well,
I get it.
we have
Well,
a lot of things out there.
I know, we
And
do.
this isn't a small, I mean, it's.
No, and let me tell you what, you know, Michael kind of deflated me just a little bit with that 1.5 to 2 million. I thought, no, I'm putting it on 5. You know, and if we only have 5, you know, we're having to raise rates
We have to do this by June.
by June 1, right? Or
$1,000,
June 30th.
right?
I think it's the 30th. I think it's the June 30th. So we've still got next month. I don't think we should, I think we should frankly make a decision. But I want you to think about that. You know, is that something that is a possibility? Because, you know, I'm gonna be honest again. So we went to the, A meeting the other night. There was a lady there that I know who's a clerk in a town nearby with about 50 less customers than we have. So it's very, very similar to ours. And they do their own building. They don't even send it to us. They do their own building there. And she has an assistant that comes in for half a day when they're doing, maybe the full day even, when they're doing the billing. But that's all that person works. And this gal runs out of office all by herself. And so that just made me stop and think, and I know why we hired her, because we wanted that backup. And I like that backup. You know, back in the day when we were there, we had a backup person, that if Kirsten and Emily were out, and we knew we were gonna need help in the office, a lot of times one person could cover it. You guys have done that, one person's covered it. But we had somebody that we needed, and she could come in and fill in for us. So I like that idea of having somebody, but I just look at it and I think, oh, this is really necessary to have, you know.
How much do we pay for Keystone again?
Right now, about 17.
Do the math, 41 minus 7.
241?
See how good he is.
I'm sure he does this all.
Oh, you're gonna borrow now. I'm sorry, I shouldn't do that to you, should I?
See if you had the program now to be done.
That's right, the math, that's it. And I will say, I train people with software, not exactly like that, but it's similar stuff, and it's amazing, I will tell you, it's amazing. And is it worth 41,000? It probably is, yeah, because in today's world, it's worth it.
Because the training is then on top of.
Yeah, that's the other
And
thing.
how much was that?
They quoted us 36 or something like that,
So we have.
but we
yeah.
found out they can do, virtual training. And these guys know enough about computers that they can do the virtual training.
Yeah.
And then I have a feeling, when you went to the clerk treasurer's, the training here a couple of weeks ago, did they talk about that?
BSNA.
About, yeah, BSNA.
They didn't talk about the training specifically, but everybody at both tables that I was
They
at
were
were
using it.
already switching.
Yeah. And they were happy with it, I'm sure, yeah. And I think those kind of trainings though, we get training at those trainings. So, I think we can probably do the training for less than 20 instead of, I thought it was more than 36, but yeah, whatever. That was,
Yeah, I went to that one else.
yeah, I don't have it with me in front of me. But I do, after chatting with that gal the other night, I thought, wow, you know, how is she managing the same thing? And they have 2 utilities, by the way. No, they have 3 utilities. They've got their water and their sewer and gas. And she's basically running that office herself. I don't know what they're gonna do to choose. Cause you know, you get somebody, she's been there a long time. And, I asked her if they were going to the new voice cloud, and she said no, and I said, have you looked at it? She says, no, and I said, you should. She doesn't want to, and I get that, she's old school, and she does a great job with what she's doing, but she's also, pretty much running that place by herself. Now, the difference there too is they've got a position like Holly's, in that there's somebody else in the office that if she's got to, run to the bank or whatever, there is somebody else in the office there. But you've already got that thing.
So if you table it again this month, the drawback is that it's just gonna take longer for them. You're farther down on the list for them to
Yeah.
come in and get it implemented.
Yeah.
But like you said though, if you did away with part-time, you want to come up past that then.
Yeah, and we can build, honestly, we can do whatever we want in the budget, true, but that also means whatever we're building in the budget, the taxpayers are paying for, so I wanna be cognizant of that, and also know, we've got some other things, things we need to do. So,
And I want to do this, I very much do want that for you guys. I really would like us to figure out what.
that's because she's an accountant kind of person. Yes, you are.
Keeping courses.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what it is. So, do you want to go ahead and make a commitment tonight, or do you want to wait it out and?
Do we have any options for figuring out a solution before next month? Like, not tonight, but before.
So that would
Next
probably
month.
need to do another reading, executive reading,
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
and I'm busy.
Well, you could, not to give
Well-
Sarah more work, but you could ask Sarah for some proposals
Okay.
to consider for next month.
Yeah.
So it's basically if she wants this, she has to figure out how to make it work.
Well, I really, at the end of the day, if I'm not voted, I'm not voted, so.
Well,
it's,
I know,
And I'm not trying to vote against you,
No,
because
you're
I
fine.
don't wanna.
I mean, I think we all agree that we probably need to do it.
Yes.
It's just that, like I said, it looks to
I
me,
just
what
wanna
I
get
saw of it.
Fuzzy feeling, that's all.
I agree. It's just that, as I was watching that, I'm thinking about how, when we changed some software and stuff, how much easier it made my job. And I'm thinking, if this is gonna speed up what you're doing now, you really need that 10 hours a week? I don't know.
So
some,
talk about it.
yeah, get some things together. And think about because it does seem to me there's gonna be a lot of time savings simply because there's an automatic transfer of data. And that's got to save you time rather than retyping things in. That's where you run into all kinds of problems. And I, you know, I just think, like I said, I'm just trying to figure out how this lady did all of this herself. You know, ran the bills off and all of that, and did all their bookkeeping for their gas and their water and their sewage, and had this gal come in a half day or whatever she did, and, you know, she got the envelopes stamped, you know, running through the postage machine and folded them. I mean, she told me the whole gamut that night. So I just
So-
made me stop to think.
Say if we do it and we decide next month, so we're looking at August, I think July or August in, before we get anything.
Probably,
Or is
And
it
next
we'll, and
year?
we're paying for the entire year.
I'm sorry.
Is
No,
it-
we won't
We
start
won't
paying
start
for it
till-
till we go live.
So we August.
So we'd be like on an August or September, whatever, but yeah, that's 9 more, you know, that's, well, it's more than a year from now, so, you know, are we willing to wait that long? I mean,
Please wait till June.
yeah,
So, I mean,
okay,
another month, I mean,
yeah, it is what it is. All right, you get a few proposals together, and we'll come back and we'll talk more about that in the next month. That's how I plan. Okay, we signed the Safe Streets and Roads for Damages contract, didn't we?
Yes.
Just a quick little update from Trent Linville, called me here, it's been a couple of weeks ago, and I think, it was that right after our meeting, I think. And he's doing, his expansion now is down Tanglewood, and then, guess what, he's going down US 421, and yay. Maybe he'll get to us, since my Xfinity's out every time we turn around. But he is gonna be by Pangburn Park, and he said he'd be willing to put Wi-Fi at the park if we are interested in it, it would be no charge. So I said, probably, but I will let you know. What do you think?
Yeah.
Huh? I need a motion, so I can contact him.
I'll make a motion.
All right. Take advantage of it.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, I got 2 more things on the list.
Just let you know, too, I think the cameras are pretty old.
Where? Oh, really?
I believe
I'm-
Google was
I'm
working
not
on
sure.
that already.
Because
Okay, but you know what, I just want one time.
he's the one, I
I
think.
want one time to have an issue, and they say, we have it on camera.
It happened on the pavilion when they broke the gate out the back.
Oh, did they? Yeah, they did.
Yeah, we got it on camera.
Okay.
But I think Randall doesn't monitor.
I
They're
haven't
probably
seen
10 years
one.
old, or they're close, they maybe, not all of them are that old, they probably replaced some of them, replaced probably 6 years ago. maybe. But okay, yeah, we probably do need to go ahead and take a look at that. You wanna put a bug in Joe's ear and tell him to get us a quote, or talk to Randall
Google was
Bencher?
already talking to
Randall, yeah.
Randall.
Oh, our Randall, let's talk to Randall. Ah, okay. 2 Randalls, got me all confused, thank you. All right, health department concerns. The town owns a piece of property.
Why we, how's that,
Do you know how that it works? I have this somewhere in here.
where it's at? Oh, I didn't understand that.
Well, here's the deal. It is, do you know where 200 comes
I know where
across?
it's at.
Okay, you know where it's at?
That's what kind of confused me, why, way out there.
Yeah, well, the property was gifted to the town of Versailles in 1941. And then again in 42, there's something in the records, and again in 54, there's records. But first gifted to the town in 1941. So do the math on that. 59 plus 26, what's that make it? 125 or something like that? No, not that many, I got that wrong. Say it again? Yeah, I got too many, 80-something years, about 85 years ago. And so they gifted that to the town. Now, everybody calls it Dump Hill, and I don't know if that's because that was originally a dump.
It was dumb.
Carly thinks it was a dump. I didn't live there, so I don't know.
That's why I went.
Okay, it has been cleaned up, but it is full of what? Glass, needles, I don't know what, all kinds of stuff. The biggest problem is, it is, here's a, hold on. Got a picture of it, I think, in here somewhere. The biggest problem is that it is a straight slope now. And Randall says if he can find anybody to do it, first of all, it is not safe for our crew to do it. It's not safe at all. It's just too steep. He says if you're gonna try to get a piece of machinery in there, he would talk to, I think it's Kevin Wood. I think, is that right? Kevin does excavating work. But he thinks that they would have to put a pulley on it somehow and attach it to a vehicle or something to be able to pull the machine, whatever it is, you know, whether they take a little front end loader or something down there to get it back out of there. So it's kind of a really not very good place. I did talk to Mary McCarty this afternoon, and there might be some money available through Oprah to clean that up. No guarantee on that by any means.
Would that be another Oprah project?
Well, it could be, yeah. Or it may, she thinks it may have something to do with this, what she just talked about today. Yeah, yeah. So, but she didn't know, and she was gonna just ask some questions. The other thing Mary said was we maybe could go to the health department and ask them to contribute, since it is a health hazard. I mean, that runs right into the creek, doesn't it? At the bottom of that hill. Yeah, right into the Law Creek. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? I thought I had that. Maybe I don't. I don't. But it's just that, now, the other thing Randall said, pardon me, if we get it cleaned up, he wants to put a fence along the property line. Don't know if I'm gonna have that.
Well, yeah, I mean, what it comes down to prevention, right?
Yeah, so he thinks we get it cleaned up and then we put a 10 or 12-foot fence down our property line to stop them from throwing stuff in there and contraction it. They think
People have been doing that for.
They've been doing it for a
right?
long
Isn't there a house on the bottom down there too?
Yep,
to the
it's one of
left?
the Woolens.
No, not mine.
No,
No, to the
it was
left
a
there.
land weird, it was a land, is it a land? No.
No, there's one up on the hill.
It's
Isn't that on the hill?
You go down the drive, goes on the hill.
Yeah.
I can't, I've been there a few times, I'm in college, so I can't remember the name.
I'll look that.
There's
You
one
go
not very
back
far
right
down that
and you
hill?
go back on-
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's on the left. The drive kind of
It
hangs.
used to be buses.
Yeah, it kind of goes up a hill.
Yeah, buses were the third people to give it back to the town. I think everybody wanted to make sure the town had that property. But anyway, I measured that as 350 feet, so fencing alone is gonna cost us a bunch of money. Yeah. So,
So maybe we don't, maybe we can clean it up then and once a year. Otherwise, clean it
yeah,
up
otherwise we're gonna
twice.
clean it up twice. Yeah.
Who-
And I don't know how much.
Did somebody report it?
Yeah, somebody reported to the health department. I've already had a little bug put in my ear about who that might be, but
McMillan.
McMillan owns something there?
Yeah.
I don't know who that
That's
is.
the name.
On the left. I should have known.
Yeah,
But this is all on the right, kind of at the top.
yes. Well, yeah, it's a top and it ends up at the bottom, and it's a long way to the bottom.
Which is,
I mean, you wouldn't wanna,
which is my pool.
you wouldn't wanna start tumbling, because
Or no, it's Halcomb's, part of it's Halcomb's.
How comes
Hawkins owns pretty much everything around it except the state.
Williams farms it,
Yeah.
Williams owns land right next to that.
Yeah, but it's the Halcomb family that's up against where,
Okay. And then Randall told me, which would it be Michael, I think?
Down the bottom.
He lives down the bottom, and they originally had that road closed off. Okay, that road was closed off for several years. I don't remember that, because I didn't went that way, but it was closed off for several years, because they didn't want people driving down
They
there.
go across the creek and all that.
But now Mary Ellen and Steve built a house across the creek, right? From the brother's house, it's across the creek, so then they wanted it back, they wanted that road opened back up.
I think it was a county road that just wasn't being maintained.
Yeah.
Wasn't what?
Just wasn't being maintained.
Wouldn't be maintained, okay. Yeah, could have been.
So what do we need to do?
Well, I think we have to figure out how to clean it up, that's the first thing. The second thing is we have to figure out how to put the fence up to stop it. And the third thing I think we do is we put a sign on the fence that says, if you throw trash over here, you're subject to a $5,000 fine.
I mean, there are no dumping signs there,
But they don't mean
they don't
anything,
mean it.
no, they're ignoring
They
it.
don't have any teeth, because if you don't.
And I don't know, I talked to Randall about, what could we put our trail cameras or something, I like, you just kept
Right,
that.
so,
Yeah.
why don't you guys think about, do you really need to keep it?
Well, we don't, but how do we get rid of it? That's the problem. point trying to keep it, do you? Anybody think we need to keep it? What would we ever use it for? It is, you drive onto that driveway, and you step, what, 3 or 4 feet, 5 feet, and boom. I mean, it's,
We've done some pretty good road training there.
there's what?
We've done some pretty good road
Fire
training.
department.
I bet. You guys want it?
We don't need it.
Of course you don't. Okay.
Let's get more information on it.
Yeah, let's give them more info on that and see if we can. I don't know why we have, I mean, just because somebody donated, cut off the fucking clock. Why do we want that? Should have said, no, we won't accept the gift. You know.
They was probably given to them as a Ford dump.
As what?
You know, like.
They probably gave it to town Ford dump back in history. Because people used to dump stuff like that.
I think that was probably, that was it. But, yeah, it's kind of a mess. I was down there about a couple of years ago, and I don't remember why I was there. Maybe I was looking at it probably, because I think I've had more than one call on that over the years. So, all right. I don't have anything, I don't think I got anything else, do I? Oh, and then the Harvest Ridge. There's a ditch over in Harvest Ridge, man. It's between, it's where the houses meet, backyards meet, okay, that main part of the subdivision when you pull in. And about halfway from the back end of it, about halfway this way is okay. And Darrell Scott put in a big drainage tile and stuff, and he doesn't have any problem. But there are 3 houses over on, well, 2 on North Ridge Road, 2 of them on the little strip there between where you turn in and you get to the next Harvest Ridge, and then 2 there. So 6 homes. And we got a ditch problem because the weeds have grown up. It's holding water right here at where the road is. Randall says that there's a culvert under the road right there, but it's rusting out. And when that road needs to be repaved, they're gonna have to dig that one up and a couple more and put those back in. But swampy, smelly, mosquitoes. How do we get the homeowners to do something about that? Oh gosh. Well, actually, okay, so Darrell was asking me if we could spray it. And I said, Darrell, at first I said no, flat out no. And he said, well, Kevin used to do that. I said, I know, Kevin did a lot of those nice things for people. And the problem was that then you had more people knocking on the door saying we did it for him, we're not gonna do it for you know. So we kind of put a stop to that, which I think we should do. He did ask if we could come and spray it, what it would, you know, or I think I said we might be able to work something out where we spray it, excuse me, and we send those homeowners, you know, a bill, split it 6 ways and send them a bill, if they won't do it themselves. I think they have to be given an option to try to do it yourself and clean it up.
So I think your recourse probably is we need to figure out if there's an ordinance violation, like a health or public safety issue. Like there probably is something about stigma
Uh-huh,
and all
yeah.
that. So to pursue it under an ordinance violation,
Okay.
maybe that will prompt them to
Okay.
do it, or else they get a lawsuit.
Yeah, I think that's good. That's, okay, ordinance violation. I'll look that up and see if we can pin that also. All right, anything else? Whew, that's a long meeting for us.
Patterson spray yet? I don't know if it's on place.
If he has, I was not made aware, I've not seen a bill.
When, I didn't see one either in the last month. When does he do that? You know, is it April?
Depends. He did
The
ours last
first
week,
one was April.
or 2 weeks.
I know he's out spraying, so,
Yeah,
alright.
have to check with him. All right, do we know anything about Brian? When Brian called me a week or 2 weeks ago, I told him, I said, if Ohio Auto Sports has any kind of a contract for the tournament, we need to see that. You know, when we had Carl Knight and TJ Brown doing it, they provided the contract. Larry he looked it over and he added a few things and kind of cleaned it up, you know, to make sure we were covered liability wise. And, but I don't think we wrote the contract, I think they brought it to us.
It
And
seems
that's what
like-
I'd like for to
Seems
happen.
like what
so.
Ryan did mention something
And we need to see that, I mean, that, we're looking at, what, 3 weeks till that, it's 14th. Yeah, so we need to be looking at that, because we gotta give Lynn a few days, at least 12 hours. I know.
There was over 200 kids that signed up.
I heard that, that was a good number, wasn't it?
I think first release starts May 2nd, I believe.
Okay.
Then, anything else? I don't know, the boat boards or boat programs have done a lot of work in the fields out there, they look really good, so.
I saw Randall went out and they knocked concrete off some of those posts and set,
Randall,
put some dirt back around them.
He called me on that, and I kinda told him to hold up on it,
Okay,
so.
okay, you didn't want him doing that?
Wouldn't be very much, not like 6 inches of concrete in the ground.
No, that's not a lot. is it?
Yeah. You get a big windstorm or something.
Yeah. You lucky did order South Ripley where it just
So I told
wiped
him
him
to
out.
hold up on that, so.
All right.
And I still have not heard, I did reach out to, Mills Fencing on the dugouts. He said it'd be about the middle of April or so, and I have not heard nothing.
Oh, gosh, yeah, we gotta get those
I
done.
told him May 2nd is opening day for rec, so.
Ooh, need to check in with them again, make sure we're gonna get out here and do it, cause we need those for that tournament. Okay. Okay.
That's all I have.
Anything? You got anything? Lynn? Giving all the advice all night. All right, Ben, anything?
Oh, good.
All right, then I'm gonna entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. It's a long motion. All right, all in favor? Oh, I need a second, thank you. All in favor?